All right. Hi, Shelly. How are you doing?
Hi, good morning, Johnny. How are you? Doing great.
Is it raining where you are?
It is pouring.
Yeah, we're getting it too.
Yeah. It's sunny California, right?
Yeah, it never rains here, does it?
No, that's what they say.
Okay, so let's get this started. I am Johnie Urban, and for my listening and learning audience, I'm interviewing today Shelly Harrison. And the reason why I'm doing Shelly is because what she has to offer here actually answers a major component of a survey that I sent out to a group of my people. And by far, over 30% selected that they don't know how to find speaking gigs, and especially speaking gigs where they get paid to speak. Shelly here has a company that helps with that. So I thought I would introduce her, let her share her story, and then you can contact her afterwards and we can, help each other out. So this is Shelly Harrison. She is a publicist and she is the CEO, founder of Luminary Leaders. Now, what she does is her company, I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it right.
Oh, thank you, Johnny.
Works directly with speakers and authors to monetize their business. Isn't that important, to monetize your business? And help them build programs, workshops, and events. So here we go. This is Shelly Harrison. How you doing, Shelly?
Doing great, Johnny. Thank you.
Ready to talk about what you're doing?
I am, because I really want to help some speakers and authors out there that might be, stuck or struggling. Yeah.
Good. So tell us a little bit about what you do, the arrangements that you make with magazines and TV and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, with Luminary Leaders, we have a variety of different affiliates that we work with, and, kind of with what I personally do and the people that I'm surrounded with, we work directly with speakers and authors to monetize their business, and also do some hybrid PR and marketing. So if that includes magazine columns or, a feature in a magazine. And of course, those aren't paid, but, that definitely builds influence. And we create workshops for them, and we're behind the scenes of a lot of events too, where we might be doing some, management on the, the event itself, whether it's a conference or a summit or a large venue.
Yeah, and I understand you customize quite a bit.
We do. We absolutely do. We customize working with each and every client that we represent. So that, that's definitely something that we have to do, because if we're going to be pitching, and I don't even like to use that word, and I say that in every interview that I don't like it, but it is what it is. But when I'm trying to convey to a decision maker, an event planner, or a company, a CEO of a company, wanting to bring in a client of ours, whether they're a speaker, presenter, or a trainer, I have to be highly effective, and I have to make sure that I feel comfortable with them, that they have the expertise and, the background that's going to be a match for that venue or company. Yeah,
that's very true. And do you help train them to become a better speaker? Is there a component in there?
There is. Now, I don't offer that service to everyone. We do that with, within the clients that we work with. When it comes to, training speakers, we have speakers that are just getting started. We have speakers that are, maybe they're in the mid range of their career, or their season where they've been doing this for years and they're, veteran speakers. So it just depends on where the need is for them personally, and where I can see that they might need to just have a tweak, on something maybe that they're doing on stage, or maybe within their, their speaking business, that could elevate them, or maybe help them to monetize it even more. And then I have those, those speakers that have been doing this for years, where I've been able to really give them some insight, and not necessarily coaching or training, but things that I can help them with that I see that they may not see for themselves.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Very good. That's much needed. Sometimes the audience responds, and the audience is so different nowadays than it used to be.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, audience want a bigger experience now. They want to connect with the speaker. They don't want to get lost in the crowd. It's just
Oh, yeah.
completely different than it was many years ago.
It really is. And, you know, the audiences are, I mean, they're very, what's the word I want to use? They're in tune with what's going on. You know, they can see a speaker who is authentic, invested in the, you know, or interested in an audience. And if they're not, the audience is going to know. Yeah. You know, they'll know that that speaker is not, you know, really, they're not going to keep the interest of that attendee.
Yeah, yeah, and then you'll find
there are those out there.
Yeah, yeah. They'll be on their phone. They'll get up and walk out. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, the message isn't going to land.
Right.
Land on them. Yeah. So that's important. I have a couple questions that I really want to ask you. Sure. Let me see here. What are some of the benefits of speaking on stage, and how do speakers and authors really monetize this if they're not being paid to speak? Because a lot of people, it's easy for them to get on stage when it's and not get paid because the organization says we don't have a budget for it, but will you speak for free? But how can they monetize that?
You know, getting on stage is one thing, but they really need to pre-plan anytime that they're going to be going on stage. And pre-planning, I'm saying weeks in advance, where they do the research. They really, you know, make sure that they clearly understand where they're speaking, who the audience is, what the theme is, what, you know, looking at the website as well, you know, looking to see who the other speakers are, finding out those other speakers, how they're promoting the event and themselves, you know, doing that. You know, being a speaker for a specific event. But monetizing is they need to be creative, you know, and they have to have services that that are going to help people, not just, you know, fluff or, you know, it's something that they've just created the night before. They really have to do the work and make sure that, you know, they could see those areas where they can monetize, whether it's on maybe developing another workshop where maybe they go to that event, but then they're going to have another, you know, workshop down the road that they can offer to the audience, and they can either, you know, enroll at the event that they're speaking at, and then, you know, be at that workshop maybe a month, 2 months later.
Yeah. Could is there a matter of like, maybe, I don't know if I'm using the right word, negotiating with the organizer to be able to sell from the stage, or to?
There is, and absolutely. And that's a great point, Johnie, because it's important to know that, because the worst thing would be if they, you know, that speaker gets up there without even getting the permission, and then they offer, and, you know, it's a PowerPoint, you know, showing what their pricing is, or they've offered it on stage, they won't be invited back. Or, you know, they're going to get a bad review. They won't get a testimonial from that event planner. So it's really key to ask up front, you know, if they can offer their services, or if they can, you know, maybe offer the audience to, you know, to follow them, meaning, you know, on social media, or, you know, meet them in the back of the room. No, not meet them in the back of the room. That doesn't sound right. Or, you know, come to the back of the conference, or the back of the, you know, back of the room, I guess you could say, and talk with that particular speaker about their services.
Yeah.
Getting permission is key. But there's a way that they can do it without, you know, really being salesy or pitching on stage. Mm-hmm. It's an art. It really is an art.
Yeah, it is an art. I believe there's like seven different types, maybe more by now, of different types of closes out there.
Oh, I'm sure that there are. Yeah, and I'm always doing research on, you know, how to close sales, and not necessarily on stage, but just how to close a sale to where it's a win-win for, you know, that person that is, you know, that is going to want to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And yourself, you know, adding value.
Yeah, it's a way of getting what you do to people that really want it and need it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
That's what your message is all about. So,
yes.
Shelly, here's an interesting question because I don't think I know this. As long as I've known you for a handful of years now, but
Yeah.
I really don't think I ever heard the story about how you got started in doing this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it's kind of goes back to, I was in the corporate world for 26 years in the banking industry, and I ended up leaving, and I was not sure where I wanted to, kind of land. And my husband and I, we talked about it, and I didn't really want to go back into a job. I was wanting to just really find out what my passion was.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward a few years, after I left the banking industry, I went into mortgage. And that's where I met a realtor who would change my life. And her name is Sabrina Allen. And I always make it a point to mention Sabrina's name because she is a jewel. She introduced me to Tanya Brown, who's the youngest sister to Nicole Brown Simpson. And that was an arrangement that Sabrina had set up. So Tanya is, she was my first client, and I represented Tanya for about 2 years, and we're still friends to this day. I adore her. She is just an amazing woman. And when I worked with Tanya, people were seeing, what was forming and what I was doing. And, she's an author, so I think it, appealed to authors too. And it just kind of grew. The roster of clients grew, and, Tanya grew with us. And here we are today. I mean, we're, this is now year 7, and it's just kind of, blossoming. And I love helping speakers and authors. I love hearing stories about people.
Yeah. Well, that's an amazing story, Shelly. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And I can tell you're passionate about it. You just really love it. And
I do.
Yeah,
I really do.
really love holding your clients' hands all the way through the process.
I do. And thank you for noticing that, Johnie, because that's something that is in my background. I mean, I had a lot of training, very high level training. So that's really enabled me to do what I'm doing now. And to be able to, like, for example, in January, we launched military speakers. So I have to give a big shout out to the Veterans Chamber of Commerce, which is the executive director, Joe Molina. He and I connected on LinkedIn. So talk about, LinkedIn and its value and benefit. We connected on LinkedIn over a year ago. And, here we are now. We launched military speakers where, we offer a discounted program for them to come on board, and they're elite speakers. I mean, phenomenal speakers. And I mean, one of my speakers who's in Florida, a shout out to Abby, I mean, he has 26,000 followers on LinkedIn. So that, I mean, and we're on LinkedIn. I know this is a platform that you're using. So it's really amazing to see, what kind of how things have developed. But military speakers is something that is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for supporting the veterans and everything. I have 2 boys. 2 of my sons are veterans.
Oh,
yeah. My youngest one is still in the Army, and he's in his last year.
How exciting. Yes. I mean, that's awesome. And just, I appreciate their service.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah.
And the sacrifice that they give. He's newly married and expecting his first baby, and he's not even home.
Wow.
So it's tough for him and his new wife and everything. But, they understand. She's a veteran too. So she, so yeah.
Well, thank goodness for Zoom and Skype, and so they can actually see each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But nothing's better than being there in person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He'll be home soon though. He'll be home soon. So, so I wanted to ask you one more thing, and unless you can add some more, but this, the one thing that I've really noticed, and people are commenting about it, is that our industry has so many speakers in it. It's saturated because there's a lot of speaker training programs. My speaker program is specific to entrepreneurs that are looking to grow their business in small audiences, and that's a whole different genre from what you're talking about. Pretty much, you're on a bigger scope than I am, but I serve a particular entrepreneur. But what I keep hearing is that the world is saturated with speakers, and some of them are really great, and some of them are not so much. But
Yeah.
And it's growing daily. It really is. People have passion, and they have stories, and they want to share that to help other people. And but the question is how do speakers differentiate themselves so they can gain traction and get paid or build a business from it? What is the answer to that?
And what I really go back to is being yourself and being authentic. And the reason I say that is to differentiate yourself in already a flooded industry, it's almost impossible. It's getting out there and doing the right things that can give visibility and like, for example, if a speaker is able to really make an impact of an audience of 1,000, connect with them, be authentic, build your influence, differentiate yourself where people know you as, like, for example, there's one speaker that we represent. Her name is Joan, and she has Jazzy Pen Communication. And, she has her business and she's been doing this for years, but people know her as Jazzy Pen. And, she always has, different high heels on. Every speaking event she goes to, she has heels about this high and she rocks them. But they know her as Jazzy Pen. Sometimes they don't remember her first name, but she has a following because of that. And, so she's really differentiated herself. And people, I think, that are getting these certifications where it takes 2 or 3 days to become a coach, they have to do the work. They really have to, like, for example, we have clients that have master's degrees. They've, put in the, 4-year, universities, and, they have a specific education. So that differentiates a speaker. Not that they, that they need to have that, but I think, the background of a speaker, and as much as they can get that out there in the industry where they can show all their gifts and talents in their portfolio of what they do, can differentiate them. And even there, like I had mentioned, the one speaker that we have who has 26,000 followers on LinkedIn, everywhere he goes, he connects with people and he's memorable. And he makes, he does unforgettable presentations. And that's really kind of sometimes what it takes to differentiate yourself. Don't be like every other speaker out there and pitch, even though you want to get sales, it'll come. People will, if they adore you or they love what you've presented on stage, they'll go to the back of the room, they'll buy your book, they'll want to, come up and take a picture with you, or, just be excited about, hearing you speak.
Yeah. That doing the work, it means that bottom line is when you do the work and you come out on top, basically, is you go through the struggle and then you come out on top and you have this crazy, amazing story, this personal story. And I'm not talking the hero's journey. Everybody has a hero's journey, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I know audiences are kind of, I believe they're kind of getting a little tired of the hero's journey. But the story that really resonates with a lot of people, and is one of the major things I teach in my program, is I call it the big why story. Your big why of why you do what you do, and it taps into your values.
Yes.
And those are the speakers I love to hear. I love to hear these stories that they have and they come up with that it actually taps into who they deeply are inside. Regardless of what business they're in, that story will always be with them.
Right.
Yeah.
And how they use that to really help other people that might be in the same situation, or maybe they're going through some pain, and this particular speaker can help them kind of come out of that. It's just, it could be transformational.
Yeah.
I go back to there was one speaking engagement that I had Tanya at years ago, and it was in Chino, and it was a room full of maybe 250 women, and then some men were there. And Tanya gave her speech on just on domestic violence and, because of her, her story. And during her talk, there was a woman that had just ran to the restroom. And I guess, she was experiencing some, domestic violence as that meeting was going on, where she was in that kind of a situation. So that, that story touched that woman. And what was beautiful is that Tanya was able to kind of go in and calm this woman down and give her resources to help her. And, it was profound when I remember that. And I think that's, that's not necessarily the way you want to touch an audience. That wasn't her fault, but it was just something that, it really got through to this woman to get help and not just, kind of take in what was going on and happening.
Right. Anything that we say from the front of the stage, from the front of the room, can touch anybody in any way. We just don't.
Yes.
We don't really know. It's. I do train my clients to be careful about how to say something that may hurt somebody unknowingly.
Yeah. Right.
But you could just say the word, say divorce, and every person in the room, like at least half the room, has been through divorce.
Yeah, and they all have different, different types of divorces. Some very painful, some tragic, and yeah,
you just don't know. So you could tread lightly, but still you have a story.
Right. Or grief, or, there's things that, it depends on how it's delivered and how meaningful it is. And, how that information that the speaker is sharing is coming from a place of, being considerate and thoughtful
and caring and
caring. Yeah.
That's a vulnerability of that's showing up. Yeah, it's awesome.
Exactly.
It's awesome. So, Shelly, is there anything else that you want to add before we end?
I would just say that, for speakers, because I know the kind of the topic was, paid speaking. And I really want people to understand that, for speakers and authors, that are getting out there and wanting to speak, don't go in thinking, I just want paid speaking. They need to understand that they have to work up to something like that, where, they need to have their marketing in check. They need to make sure that they have, that they're building their influence. They need to make sure that whatever they're delivering, that somebody would pay for is different and unique, and, something that is going to be serving for an audience. And another thing that I really want to mention, if they are looking for paid speaking and looking at conferences, all you have to do is Google searches, looking for conferences and specific niches. Go to the website of that conference. And if they have high level sponsors, like Pepsi and Target and all these, big names, they may have a budget. And you have to really make sure when you go in to know if they have a budget or not.
Yeah.
And it's important to know that. So, that's what I've got.
Yeah, thank you so
much. That helps.
So, Shelly, where can people get hold of you? I will post the link with this video. That's not a problem. But if you could just mention, they can hold of you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I would love to have them connect with us on Facebook on Luminary Leaders. All they have to do is just go onto Facebook. Our website is luminaryspeakers.com. And we're also on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Love to leverage LinkedIn and that's what speakers can do too, is leverage LinkedIn.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Shelly. Thank
you, Johnie. This has been
I really appreciate you wanting to be part of this journey with me. and I really, we've known each other for a while. We've helped each other out in the past, and I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too, Johnie. And thank you so much. And I appreciate you so much. And I hope you know that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And I wish you much success with, with this podcast and, just doing a great job with it and having some amazing guests on here. And if you ever need guests, you know where to come, right?
Yeah, I'll be calling you up.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I know my entrepreneurial audience would love to learn from also other entrepreneurs out there and learned and struggled with, and just little tidbits and everything. I just, that's why I'm here, is to teach, share, learn.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. And congratulations on your show too. Thank you so much for having me as a guest too. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome, Shelly.
Yeah.
You have a great rest of your day, and hopefully the rain will be gone by this afternoon.
I hope so. I mean, although we need the rain.
we do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Johnie. Well, have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Johnie Urban, founder and owner of Sensitive Authentic Speaker, sensitiveauthentic speaker.com.